Earlier, when I said that we were all done with the pronouns, I kind of lied. We covered all the terminology involved, but now we get into the more serious aspect. These are the actual practical usage issues that you really need to know for test questions. So, I told you along the way those terms that we were learning not really important for later, but this stuff is really important and you need to really understand these rules well. So please review the videos several times, okay, until you fully understand the concepts. Here we're talking about agreement of pronouns, and so the topic is called pronoun agreement. And here the rule says pronouns agree with their antecedents. Okay, we learned that word, right? Anytime you have a pronoun like a he, we need to know who that he is. So we go back in the sentence until we find a singular word. If we find a job, we know that's not a he. So we keep going until we find, say, John. Oh, that's a he. That would be the antecedent of this he. And these two words have to match. How do they match? They have to match in number. John is singular, then he must be singular. They have to match in person, as in first person, second person, or third person. John is a third person, and so we have to use he or they, depending on the number, right? In this case, singular. So we choose he. And what about gender? Well, John sounds like a male name, so we're going to choose he. If we had a Joan, it would be hard to find a boy named Joan, so we would have to say she. Sometimes it's hard to tell because there are a lot of names that can go either way. So it's kind of based on your general knowledge of American names. On test questions, they'll make it pretty obvious for you. Agreement in number was one of the three topics, right? 3 ways it has to agree. If the antecedent is singular, then the pronoun must be singular. If the antecedent is plural, the pronoun must be plural. All right, that sounds pretty obvious. Let's identify the pronouns here and the antecedent. Harry and the horse gave his smallest hello. All right, who is the he? Oh, I said Harry and the horse. It's not Harry and the horse, is it? It's Harry the horse. Okay, that's the name of this character. And Harry is a talking horse, so we, I guess, will not call it an it. We'll call it a he. Okay, so his matches with Harry in number. There's a singular there. The men bred their white elephants. The antecedent of their is the men, plural. Easy enough. The difficulties in pronoun numbers. Okay, several ways. There are several ways it causes us problems, and so we'll list 3. And this is number 1. Number 1, when the antecedent is an indefinite pronoun. So we talked about that. And this is where the terminology is kind of important because now we can talk to each other. When I say indefinite pronoun, you know what I'm talking about, or you should. Indefinite pronoun are words like either, neither, everyone, no one, everybody, nobody. These words are pronouns, but they're not personal pronouns. There are pronouns. These are pronouns referring to certain persons. That is indefinite, unknown, or unspecified. So the wrong sentence here says each man gets to heaven in their own way. Well, if you said each man, I guess this is not a indefinite pronoun they used here. Actually, each was not a pronoun, was used as an adjective. So yeah, I don't know why they used this particular sentence. So it's not perfectly an indefinite pronoun. It would be if you said each and just each. Each gets to. And then we would say, oh, each is singular. Okay. So each gets to heaven in his way. We just have to match up the number. All right. So each is singular, but in this case, each was not used as a pronoun, and so little problem there. But what we want to know is if each is used as a pronoun, it is singular. Also, everyone, everybody is singular. even though we are talking about all the people, let's say a teacher comes into the classroom and wants everyone to open up their books. That's how we would normally say it. But grammatically correct thing to say is that the teacher wants everybody to open up his books or open up her books. Now that sounds really awkward if you choose only one or the other. So we would probably say the teacher wants everyone to open up his or her books. And that would be more correct grammatically than saying their books. Okay? Note, none may be either singular or plural. Generally, if it's countable, you will say none of the cars are. But if it's non-countable, you will say none of the water is. Another difficulty in pronoun numbers. Number 2, when the antecedent refers to a collective noun. Alright, so collective nouns such as jury. It says the jury were divided. And they used a plural verb here, were divided, because we're talking about one jury but 12 members being divided. So it's not one collective unit acting together. And so in the next sentence, when we want the pronoun, we're going to say it was unable to bring a verdict. Oh, actually we're not, okay, because that's the wrong sentence. Because we use the pronoun it if the antecedent jury was being used as one unit. In this case, it's not. The right thing to say would be that the jury were divided. They were unable to, because the they refers to the jury members. Still one jury, but 12 members. And we're thinking of the members, then we're going to use the they in that case. Number 3, difficulty in pronouns. If you have an either or situation or a neither nor situation, okay, connect the two antecedents, it says. Let's see what that means. Okay. Oh, yeah. When this or this connect to antecedents is what that means. Then that's when we get into trouble. Alright, so sentence looks like this. Neither the Republican Party nor the Democratic Party wants. There's my verb. Alright, what's my subject for that wants? Subject here is Republican Party or the Democratic Party. Singular here, singular here. What should I do with the verb? The rule is, the key here is the nor. Okay? If you have an or nor situation, the rule is for you to go with the subject that is closer to the verb. Okay? And that's why we choose that singular verb to match with the Democratic Party. And we're just going to ignore the Republican Party. Now this is important because sometimes you get a singular word here and a plural word here. In that case, your verb is going to be plural because you're looking at the one closer to the verb. Sometimes the verb comes first in a there is or here is kind of sentence. In that case too, you're going to look at the one that's closer to the verb, not the second one of the two, but one that's closer. For the same reason, when you're choosing the pronoun there, you don't want there because it should be referring to the subject that controlled the verb. Okay, so we should be looking at Democratic Party and then wants, and not there, but its. Okay, to match up. Democratic Party wants its candidate for dog catcher. Let's move on to a different agreement. Agreement in person is that the pronoun has to match in person, as in the first person, second person, or third person. So this is pretty easy. The error happens in shifting points of view. So this is a special topic. What do they call it? Pronoun shift is what they call it. Alright, so whenever I mention a pronoun shift, it means you had pronouns that changed in person. So look at the wrong sentence. In the wrong sentence, we have the school is what we're talking about. Let's see. The school insists on something. We, who's the we? Is that the school? We're not Prussians, but one. Now that's we was first person plural. One is a third person singular. One must teach children discipline or else you. Now that's second person singular or plural. You will turn out moral monsters. Okay, we're just talking generally about what will happen to society with anybody, and in those cases, it's kind of hard in English. We often use the you. If you want to come, you can do this, or I guess in more general sense, not the specific you. We use that all the time, right? What we need to do is make them consistent. So we say something like, we insist on right behavior at our school. We are not Prussians, but we believe that we must teach children discipline or else turn out moral monsters. Okay, you just need to keep it consistent in the whole sentence. If you switch, that's a pronoun shift error. That happens a lot on the SAT exam. They'll start with a sentence with one if one does something something something. Okay, too many dots there, but that's okay. They'll give you a you. So this is a pronoun shift error, very classic one. Okay, and that's really the only way they test it, with a one versus a you. That would be wrong. You just need to remember that. All right, next one is agreement in gender. If it's a boy, say he. If it's a girl, say she. That's all it is. Okay. The man has his duty. The woman has hers, and the child has its. All right, we don't know the sex of the child, so we can use the its. Its is acceptable for babies and animals. The book we're following is English Made Simple by Arthur Waldhorn. Visit hopegof.org to see what's going on there with charity activities.